shocking news out of the Supreme Court. They're basically saying, you know what, Joe Biden, you can go ahead and cut down that wire in the state of Texas. Pretty wacky stuff, because last I checked, the Constitution provided that the federal government would actually protect, ladies and gentlemen, protect our states, quote, from an invasion. That would be Article 4, Section 4. It specifically says it. Let me see if I can. It specifically says that you have to protect against invasion. I mean, it's right there in the print of the Constitution. And yet Joe Biden has no interest in doing so. Clearly. I mean, this is wild. This is crazy. And so can you blame Texas for saying, you know what, we got to take this into our own hands? We can't manage all these people coming in. We're going to put up our own fence. We're going to put up a wire fence. Let's look at the video of this wire fence. And now the Supreme Court's like, nope, Joe can cut it down. So all of these people coming in, they've got this wire fence. And the Supreme Court's like, okay, you know, this is going to basically live another day. They're going to continue to deliberate and decide on this particular issue. And in the meantime, guess what? 300,000 people, a record in the month of December alone, coming into this country. Donald Trump weighing in on the issue. Again, I want to show you, we got two clips from him out of Londonderry, New Hampshire today. One in which he says, you know what? This is the short one. I'm just telling the team here. This is the short one where he's like, you know, I don't think I've ever seen this. Not in the third world does anybody have a border quite like this. Let's watch.
I think we have the worst border anywhere in the world. I don't think any country, a third world country, never had a border.
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying this, right? No other country in the world, whether it's first world, third world, if you want to use politically correct terms, emerging market nations, I'm sorry, none of them have had border issues like we have here in the United States of America right now. If you can't secure your country, if the federal government cannot do its job, I mean, what do you expect Texas to do? Reminder, make sure you subscribe. I think we just put the little thing on. I heard the little ding. Subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Make sure you are here and that you've hit the bell so that you get all this information directly from me as soon as I'm live here daily. And we are live. I'm going to go out to your comments in just a moment. Hey, we got more and more people tuning in. So thank you for spreading the word. I'm telling you guys, this is not right. And I look at it and I say, why are they doing this? I think it's a politically sensitive issue and a huge mistake on the Democrats. I mean, the New York Times had a story on this today, basically, that people feel really, really strongly on this border issue. And so why are the Democrats choosing to ignore that and pretend like, oh, come on, Gavin Newsom, for goodness sakes, he's going to offer you free health care. Yeah, he's going to take $2 million, forgive me, $1 billion that he does not have and offer it up for free health care. I mean, he's already $68 billion in the hole. So what's another two, right? Except that nobody actually wants to live in California anymore. It's just become an absolutely miserable place. Just look at San Francisco right now. Miserable, horrible place. And they tax you more than anywhere else. So anybody with a couple brain cells says, I'm out of here. I mean, if you can, you're out of there. But again, this is the mentality. Like, let's bring them in. Let's absorb them. But how? I mean, like, I'm sorry. Like, does no one know math? Is this part of the equitable math thing where nobody can add or subtract or multiply or divide? We don't have the money for it. We don't have the infrastructure for it. We don't have the paperwork for it, for goodness sakes. So Donald Trump also making this point, saying this is going to be the biggest issue in this campaign. I'll tell you, he got it right in 2016. And he's getting it right again. Americans have had it. Watch him here in Londonderry.
I think we have the worst border anywhere in the world. I don't think any country, a third world country, never had a border.
We got another goodie, I think. Drew's got one more good one that we want to show you because we just played that. But I think we got one more. Again, there were a couple sound bites that came from Londonderry.
With your support, we will soon be taking the...
We'll take it. The first one, the first longer one. I think we got it.
It's lightening up because it's so easy. They don't have to come here. It is. You have to watch both borders, and you have to watch fly-ins. You have to watch everything. But the southern border is like nobody's ever seen. But the northern border is bad too. They have done a terrible job. This is one of the worst things. I believe it's one of the worst tragedies ever to befall our country. I really do. I think it's one of the great tragedies in the history of our country, what they've done. Either they're very stupid, which I don't believe they are, or they hate our country. It's very simple. It can be nothing else. They're very stupid or they hate our country. To allow millions of people to come into our country totally unchecked, totally unvetted, it's not even believable. And it's the biggest issue now. You know, the economy was big and inflation was big. It's all big. But this, I think the border issue now is the biggest.
And you know what? I think he's right. And it's smart of him up there in New Hampshire, I'll tell you, because we border Canada in New Hampshire. And the welcome sign, when you go across the state from Massachusetts, it says bienvenue, which is the French word for welcome. I never got that, right? Like, why is it in French? Anyway, so you get French Canadians coming down. That's not really an issue in the way that you've got it at the southern border, but it's another security vulnerability. And if you're concerned about national security, and we all should be, especially when you see the numbers and the video of all of the Chinese migrants that are coming in via our southern border, you got to look at the northern one too and say it's just as easy, right? Like, what are we doing? How do we get control of this? There are some in the Democrat Party, including this administration, that figure the way to get control of it is to just keep inviting people and just put them into the system and you just make them citizens. Like, that's going to work. I mean, good luck, guys. I'm all for figuring out a path to not citizenship, because I'm sorry, you come here illegally. Why are we ever going to reward you with citizenship? I mean, I hate to be harsh, but if you're here illegally, then why do we reward that? Why is that like, okay, gold star, you came here illegally? No. You reward the people that come in through legal methods. Let's have a system. He said this way back in 2016 with the red carpet for the legal migrants, the legal immigrants that come to the United States of America. Let's do it like we always have. Instead, you got Kamala Harris with a special brand of word salad going on, talking to this CNN reporter. It's kind of funny. You got to bear with me here because you got to actually stick with it long enough to hear and understand what she's saying. But yeah, she's like, come on, and we're going to give you a passport.
Can't this be accomplished during this administration? Well, so there's no question that our immigration system is broken. And so much so that we, as the first bill that we offered after our inauguration, was to fix the immigration system, which included what we must do to create a pathway for citizenship and to put the resources that are needed into the border. But sadly, people on the other side of the aisle have been playing politics with this issue. The solutions are at hand. And, you know, gone are the days, sadly, where a President Bush or John McCain understood that we should have a bipartisan approach to fixing this problem, which is a long-standing problem. But what are those solutions? The solution includes putting resources at the border to do what we can to process people effectively, and putting in place laws that actually allow for a meaningful pathway to citizenship.
Really? Okay, so she wants more money to be able to manage the border and file everyone and have a process. And not only does she want more of your taxpayer dollars that she's already spending, she wants then to offer that citizenship path. I don't think that's going to happen. At this point, I'm sorry. And you know what? We are a generous country. We are a wonderful country. We do a lot of great stuff. But you can only push us so far here in the good old United States of America. Yes, we all come from somewhere. I get it. Absolutely, positively true. And I bet you push everyone. We're fine with it. You come from wherever, as long as you're willing to work hard, as long as you're willing to be part of America, as long as you're willing to love our culture and contribute. But if you come here illegally and you suddenly want handouts or you want a citizenship card, that's not going to happen. And you know what? This issue is going to become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I don't think the Democrats have any winning argument whatsoever. You heard Kamala. This is actually their talking point. Give me a break. Even John Fetterman, senator from Pennsylvania, he, Democrat, knows that's not going to get you to first base. Watch Fetterman here on CNN.
It indicated you have very high approval among Democratic voters and this information in Pennsylvania, and this information came along with the tag that Twitter is not real life, because obviously a lot of progressives on Twitter have been attacking you for your position on Israel, for noting that, in your opinion, saying that there is a crisis at the border.
Okay.
Xenophobic.
Tapper, spit it out.
Why do you think you've been so criticized by so many progressives?
I honestly don't understand. I don't understand why it's controversial to anybody to decide that you're going to stand with Israel in this situation. I honestly don't understand why it's controversial to say we need a secure border. I've been very clear. In fact, that was weaponized against me as Republicans in my race, that I'm very much a strong supporter of immigration. And, you know, my wife's family, that's the Oregon story about that.
But he did say, I want a strong border. You heard that, right? In other words, even Fetterman wants a strong border. You can be pro-immigration and insist that we need a strong border, and you're not going to reward people who break the law. I mean, why are we rewarding people who break the law? It's like, honestly, you know what? It's like DEI on steroids. That's what this is. This is DEI gone wild. Because if you're white, this reminds me of the woman from the Johns Hopkins University just the other day. Remember that top 10 list of privilege? If you're white, if you're Christian, if you're heterosexual, if you're male, game over. If you're part of the owning class, if you own anything, right, you are privileged. So in other words, this is a very anti-America kind of sentiment, and it's taking over. And I think Americans have had it. I remember the woman the other day in Brooklyn, New York. I mean, the optics of this thing were insane. The optics of the mother watching children file out of the Brooklyn school. I don't care if it was for only a night. They'll say, oh, it was just one night because we had a big storm coming. It's the optics of it. If you're Joe Biden, you don't want to see this, right? Because it's kids getting displaced, their parents getting upset, they're getting sent home from school while migrants, and I get it's complicated. Yes, they're here and you got to house them somehow. That's reality, right? Reality bites. Watch this clip. There's no way you can't feel for everyone here.
How does it feel that you kicked all the kids out of school tomorrow? How does it feel? Do you feel good? I hope you feel good. I hope you'll sleep really well tonight.
Why are you yelling at them?
Because I have a right to. That's why. That's why. Because I'm an aggravated mother. That's why. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Taking over my kids' school.
So in other words, those migrants file in, the American kids file out, and Americans are angry. And they have every right to be angry right now. Again, just a night. But that night symbolized a whole lot for a whole lot of people. And if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the rest of the Democrat Party cannot figure that out, then I'll tell you, they're more stupid than anyone thought. Or to Trump's point, they really don't like us. Take your pick. It's either deliberate or they're the most stupid people on the planet.